Alright, we should be streaming live now. Hello, everyone. And by everyone, I mean two people. That's more than I was expecting for a scheduleless impromptu stream for a small channel. So I would say hello there and welcome to this first VTuber stream with a VTuber that is very feisty. For the video I recorded earlier this week, I was using Warudo, which is a Steam-powered VTuber program that also allows full body tracking without the need for leap motion controllers, which are basically VR controllers. But I found out that that is unfortunately very bad for, well, this CPU. It's very bad for the CPU. So that turned into VC Face instead, which is what I'm using now. I'm going to turn on some music for myself here for a second, and then we'll get started. Let's see. That should work. Except it doesn't. Oh, would you look at that? It's not using my headphones for some reason. There we are. Alright, now let's get started with this, shall we? I do have to apologize that I can't always see the chat, because Blender, I have a dual screen setup, so I use both my screens for Blender. So pretty much anytime I click my Blender, it pops up the second window I have open for Blender, which is the camera. I can drag it over real quick to show. This basically shows me what the camera sees when I'm animating, so that I can animate things correctly. Because one thing you'll learn very quickly when you're animating in Blender is that the animation is very different from 2D animation. You can get away with a lot by just messing with the camera angle and the proportion of your model. So you can make the arms way too long, but then have them look great, like perfect in the camera's view, because the camera doesn't see that they're too long. It's forced perspective pretty much. I'll look to see if I can pull the chat up on my phone while I am setting this up. Because what we are going to be doing today is I had a I'm reanimating the teaser right now in Blender. But something went wrong a while back, and animation data for one of the animations for James is missing. I want to redo that shot because I recently learned how to do smear frames in 3D, and smear frames in 3D just give you that little bit of extra oomph, so to say. It's the same as in 2D animation, where you get a little bit of extra speed, even though it's still a still image. It looks like the character is moving much faster. Now this is interesting. I have to click those, right? So I have to remake that animation. Essentially. Oh dear. Looks like I might have to remake them both, because the animation data for the bag is also gone. It's also no longer connected to the... This is weird. I'm just going to scroll through all of these, see if it's... Nope, nope, that's also gone. Oh dear. Well, you guys don't get to see me really reanimating anything of the teaser so much as you get to watch me fix something that broke. I mean, there's animation data here, it's just not responding to it. It got disconnected from its rig, are you serious? It somehow got unparented from both rigs. You're watching a professional Blender animator, by the way. Definitely a pro here at work. Definitely not some guy who just opened it up one day and decided to figure out what he's doing as he goes. I can't find my chat on... Maybe if I can find it in the YouTube app, I'll just watch the live stream with you guys. The Creator Studio app on mobile is really not my preferred way of doing anything on YouTube. But yeah, this is super odd. It's been both unparented from both its rigs. That's not good. And where did it go? Nobody knows. There we go, now I've got chat open on my phone. Modern problems require modern solutions, I guess. Alright. No more distractions, I promise. And it's, you know, this is an impromptu, unscheduled stream. It's my first time back streaming in a while. I did stream before, but without, any stuff. No VTuber, no... By the way, I lied in my video that I could not do a dual streaming setup. I lied because I have a dual PC streaming setup now. I guess I'm just going to end up using this one then. That's annoying, but... The weird thing is I could not get this bag to unparent from this rig because it was parented to the running thug rig to make sure they both move simultaneously. But then in the next shot I wanted to transfer it from the thug to James, and it wouldn't. It would not unparent. It kept moving with the hand bone even though it was not parented, and now somehow that bag is unparented from both its rigs, both this rig and its main rig. So what I ended up doing was just exporting a new bag separate from the original model. But somehow no, neither of them are parented, so I guess we're just gonna be using this guy for everything, and I'm leaving it unparented because fuck that. Because why does it start here? Why does it start all the way over there? Neither of these are the correct position for you to be starting in, kind sir. What in the fresh hell? Yeah, I'm just going to have to fix everything to redo that shot. How are you doing, by the way, kind lurker? I do hope it's not lagging too terribly. Looks fine on my phone, but as I said, I lied about not being able to do a dual streaming setup, dual PC streaming setup. Is I still had in storage an old PC from 10 years ago. I got that PC in 2017. And then my dad bought a new PC for himself in 2020, and then he decided to gift me his old PC, which is a work beast, like a absolute workhorse. It's got a 2080 Ti and 32 gigs of RAM. And even after 7 years, 6 years, not seven. I guess it's 8 years because my dad built it in 2018. So in 8 years' time, it's still like in the top 90% of what is available for computers. Even though all the components are almost 10 years old. So that's kind of ridiculous, but it's it's great. So it means I can keep this computer around for much longer. The only thing that has died in those 8 years was the PSU. So the only thing that died was the PSU, and everything else is still fully operational. So I pray that it stays that way for another while, good while, because PC parts are still wildly expensive. So I was so happy to see that the only thing that went wrong with that PC that took forever was Windows had corrupted. For some reason, Windows still had my old name and was asking for a PIN I never set. So I tried literally everything to get into that account and it just wouldn't let me. So the only thing I could do was reinstall Windows at the end. But other than that, it's still in perfect working order, even though I haven't touched it in 6 years. Startup was initially a little slow. Like before I reinstalled Windows, it even had trouble finding Windows to begin with the first couple times I booted it up. It took me several attempts to even get it to boot Windows and not just the BIOS. And then when I finally got it to boot, I just started a couple cycles of making sure that it would boot properly. And the first time, I believe, took 30 minutes. When it finally actually started booting into Windows, it took 30 minutes. Oh, wait, that one viewer is me on my phone. Okay, that's why nobody's talking. is amiss? Something's not going too well here. The VTuber is no longer responding, unfortunately. So I'll just turn him off. Oh no, I think I know why the VTuber's not responding. It's because of this. I think this is why the VTuber's not responding. Technical issues, guys. Technical issues. Always with the technical issues. Uh, I I'm not sure if it's worth trying to try and get the VTuber back online. I checked both things that could be causing the VTuber to not respond, but neither seemed to be doing anything. I think it's just dead. The VTuber is dead. Lasted a whole, what, 30 minutes? So, if this doesn't work, I'm afraid it might just be dead. Hey. Alright. I'll start a new virtual camera, and the VTuber should be back. In 3, 2, there we go. Yeah, the load, the CPU load might just be too much after all. I thought it was pretty stable, around 65%, but something clearly kicked it up to overload and boot the VTuber out. But it looked like it was worse for a second. I thought the whole thing had crashed because I lost connection to to the streaming PC, so I thought the whole thing had crashed. But we seem to be doing okay. Right in the middle, as I was talking about this PC being absolutely ancient, and maybe I insulted it. That's probably what happened. Like, he said I wasn't top of the line. Poof, I'm leaving. But yeah, this PC, it does have an NVIDIA card, a 750 Ti, so that's a really old but mid-range card that's about 12 years old. First released in 2014, I think. So, it's still better than some of the newer cards that are currently on the market, but it's definitely low, like, low range now, so... The biggest bottleneck for this setup for both my PCs is the CPU. Especially considering I am using software that is heavy on the CPU. Right now, my Blender PC is using 40%, but the second I put the VTuber on either computer, even this, it uses 40%. Or 30% of the... But it's already a lot less. Because what I was initially using, which is Warudo, which I said at the start of the stream, used 35% at the lowest setting, and VC Face is currently at the highest setting, so at least the VTuber doesn't look like a potato, but I might try with a lower res version of the VTuber, because right now it's pretty heavy with 60k tries, so that's a pretty high res model. And lower res might just be the answer. And oh, great. I love this for me. I love this for me. Why are you doing this to me? In case you missed it, or when you weren't watching earlier, animation data for one of the shots I wanted to redo is gone. Is gone and deleted somehow, so I have to re fix the animation, like redo the entire animation instead of just some adding some smear frames for two of my models. So that's what we're doing tonight. And I lied in my previous video. I am dual streaming. It turns out that it is possible to dual stream with a PC in a different room. My office is a mighty 43 square feet. Actually made me laugh to hear Mark during his stream the other day go, "My office is so tiny, I can't even stretch my arms." And I was like, Mark, I would kill for that office that you've got, because mine is 43 square feet. My desk fits perfectly. There's only a tiny amount of space on either side, which I need, otherwise the cables can't fit in the outlet. But I can literally not get a bigger desk than what I've got right now. Otherwise, it will just straight up not fit in here. If I were to put the PC here, I would need an extra Ethernet. This apartment is pretty fancy. It's got Ethernet on the walls. So my streaming PC is connected directly to the Ethernet in the wall in the bedroom. And it's also got a dedicated outlet there. So I don't have to mess with extension cords or anything dangerous. I guess extension cords aren't really that dangerous, but I already have an extension cord plugged in here for the stuff that I need. I would rather not add another if I can help it. So this office, if you want to call it that, because I just finished building the wall. It's not yet wallpapered, so I'm staring at a bare wall on the other side. And I also haven't put in the sliding door yet, because I purchased a sliding door, a Skidda IKEA brand. Because there is 3 feet of space behind me that the door to the actual hallway also opens into. So by adding a regular door, you would lose so much space. So that's why I went with a sliding door. But the ring finger on my right hand is still numb. The tip of the ring finger on my right hand is still slightly numb. So I'm still not allowed by the doctor to do too much stuff. So that's gotta wait a little longer until my hand is fully back to operational state, an operational state. So right now I'm just sitting in the open with 2 walls and a window. It's not really a closed off space just yet. But it's a whole a mighty 42 square meters, or 4 square meters, which is 43 square feet. And what is this gun? It's the rig for the gun, which I didn't activate. Why? What are you doing here? Why are you active? Gun. Uh, gun. Go away. We do not want you or need you for today. But so yeah, I've been hiding so much stuff on the Patreon, and it was kind of like making me sad, like nobody is seeing this, and I do want people to see it, and I want to be able to share it, and so I figured why not stream, because, you know, that would be a fun way to have direct interaction, and you guys get your behind the scenes content. So that's the reason I decided to start streaming. But a dual PC streaming setup is required to be able to stream Blender in a way that it's still usable. Because I have pretty high noise suppression on the microphone right now. Because my PC here is screaming at the top of its lungs like the fans are going full tilt. Because the CPU is it's at 40% right now, but it's got spikes to 90 when I move the model around. It spikes to 90 when I so yeah. Despite the GPU subdivision being turned on, like I tried everything to get everything routed to my GPU because I've got a massive GPU even by 2018 in 2026 standards. It's still a massive GPU, and yet and yet it kind of makes me wish that a PC could handle more than one CPU. I'm pretty sure that that's not possible, but that would be ideal to be able to just put a second CPU in. I have a backup, like, spare GPU that my dad gave me, which was the original GPU that was in this computer when he was using it. It's, my dad makes about 3 times as much money as I do, so he's got a lot of spare cash to spend on stuff. So yeah, basically my dad bought 3 GPUs for this PC in the well, technically he bought 2 GPUs for this PC and a third for his new one. He used the 2080 Ti that's now in this PC for a while for his own. That was in 2020 when the first like GPU price spike was happening. And that was actually low in comparison to what it is now. That price hike. Thanks to AI. Gotta love it. AI, right? There's definitely nothing bad about AI ever. Like, I am like starting to look at new components for this computer just for the fact that they're 8 years old, and the PSU already went the way of the dodo. So I was lucky that those weren't monstrously expensive, but if the RAM or the GPU goes, like a low end GPU is $500 for like a decent. It would still be an upgrade compared to what I've got now because that's the virtue of 8-year-old, 8-year-old equipment. But it's only by a narrow margin, and so it's so expensive. Knowing that that GPU probably would have cost like 200 or 300 a couple years ago. Excuse me for a second, my kitty is asking me a question. I guess that's the big downside of using a VTuber, right? That's the big downside. You guys can't see the cute kitty that I've got here right now. Maybe you guys can hear her. I'm not sure if she makes enough noise. Nah, she's a very quiet purr. So yeah, Kitty wanted to say hi. What you doing, Dad? She's a very sweet, cuddly baby. But she's also very opinionated. I am technically not allowed to leave my house. Ever. Because whenever I do, she follows me to the front door. Oh dear lord, what's going on with this? What is wrong with you? What's wrong with your face? Actually, your face is about the only thing that's got nothing wrong going on with it. Oh my god. In case you missed it, you're watching and you missed it earlier, I am redoing the animation for this poor model. So I just wanted to redo a shot. She wants to leave. Don't hiss at me. I'm putting you down. No. Yeah. I guess she doesn't like that I'm streaming. They're not used to me, like, talking to nobody, I guess. I guess that's what the matter is. She's confused. Who the fuck are you talking to? And in a language she doesn't understand. Well, even less than the language I usually speak to her, so. But yeah, the animation for this shot got corrupted for some reason, so I have to redo it to add smear frames to the animation. So that's what I wanted to do. I want to add smear frames to this animation. I'm just curious if I got the wrong... No, I don't have the wrong... I did have the correct layer selected, but this one just makes it a little easier to navigate around. It means I also gotta add an extra model in a bit to check if the animation is still in one piece for them. What the hell is going on with this hand? Like... Nothing's going on with this hand, it's fine. Why was it... Oh, now it's this one. Is this the CPU fucking up? Like, is this because my CPU is at the max? Yeah, okay, this is probably because my CPU is almost at the max. I have one more thing I can do, because the image editor was open with a rendered image that usually improves performance. Oh my god, what is going on? What is going on? That's my other cat. His name is Ezra, he's orange and he likes to scream. Likes hearing the sound of his own voice. What is going on? I'm not... Like, this has got to be a rendering, like not real, so to say, issue. This has gotta be not actually there. This is just a graphical glitch. Right? This is just a graphical glitch because of the load on... In case you can't see... No, you guys can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the render, and it is fucked in the render as well. I have no idea what's going on. Why I can't tell what's causing this. Well, that fixes it, so... What the hell is this? No, this really is a graphical error. This... Yeah, you see? See? This is a graphical glitch. Well, I guess you learn something new every day. How can I help you, you poor sad little computer? I don't know. I really don't know. Guys, I am already streaming on two PCs. There is nothing I can do to get Blender to run any better than this. Let me take a look. Because I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. I have had Blender under a high GPU and high CPU load before, but I've never seen glitches like this. I guess we could test if it's also happening to other animations. It doesn't happen in this one. That whole animation is just corrupt, I guess. I guess this whole data block is just corrupt. That would have to, like... Oh, sorry, I am in the wrong animation. Messing around in the wrong animation right now. Not that one. No, that one. You can ignore the stupid names. Why aren't you? Because of this one. There we go. You can ignore the names I give my animations, by the way. It's a lot of frustration from, I think I get what's going on. I think I get what's going on, but... I don't think it should be happening. I think it's... Let me... turn this off. Yeah, no. Okay, no. Or is it? It is. This is a bug caused by an extension. A Blender, like, a Blender add-on. This is a bug caused by a Blender add-on, which means I have to redo this entire animation, probably. Because for some reason, it's not letting go of the smear frames I added for another animation. I was not hoping for this to turn into a debugging stream, but here we are. Ugh, I just hope it's not permanently fucked up now as I disabled the extension with see where these smear frames run. These smear frames run. And then I changed the rig, and then the smear frames still run. That is a problem. That is a problem. That is not supposed to happen. That's a bug. that is a bug. That is a bug, and you see they're not present in this list. But they are here. These are the smear frames. They're not present in this list. And yet they still play. Oh no. No. Oh. This is a problem, and I just noticed that the VTuber has decided to take a nap again. Guys, should I just shut the VTuber down? Should I just shut him down? Clearly, he doesn't want to play. Oh no, wait, it's because I paused the connection with the computer, isn't it? Yeah, okay, the VTuber is still working. You can Discord stream, then use the stream for OBS. I wouldn't know how to do that right off the bat right now. But that is something I can look into. Right now I'm using OBS Teleport. So one computer is running OBS with the Blender screen and the overlay and everything because that was convenient because I already had that whole thing set up in OBS here. So I just used teleport to teleport the output of this computer there and stream from there. So here is just the VTuber and the stream itself, and everything else is running here. The VTuber is graphically like it's not like I didn't think it would be, but it is. The GPU is only at 30%, even on like the low end computer. But like, the stream's running fine, right? Like it's it's barely hanging on, but it's running okay, especially now it's only 40% CPU and only 13%. That's my network. That's not GPU. 3% and 35 on the Nvidia. So that's okay. Those are okay numbers. It just had a little hiccup earlier, and it right now keeps thinking my eyes are closed. But yeah, streaming without the VTuber would be an option. Also, I'm so sorry for not looking at chat sooner because you probably posted that message like an hour ago and I just ignored it. I'm sorry. I'll call you ghost friends, not to dox you. So, ghost friends of one, I'm sorry for not looking at the chat earlier. It seems to be running okay-ish now. Like, it's not freaking out. It just isn't the greatest. But it's decent. I just... ugh. I don't know how to get to turn that off. Like, this is a problem. This is not supposed... It's not in my action editor here. So it shouldn't be here. Oh no, an Adobe sheet. Here they are. Hey, bag, why are you on the wrong animation? It doesn't matter. Like, why? Why are these? Why are these still here? Does that mean I can't actually save these to an action? Because that's gonna be a pain in the ass if I ever want to make small adjustments to an animation. Oh no. This is stupid. This is just stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm really mad. Insanely pissed off now. Can't you hear by the sound of my voice? Why? Why are you here? I guess I can just mute them, but then if I want to make new ones, they're just... no. This is not supposed to happen. Oh. Hey, I muted these. You should all be muted. All of you should be muted. Mute. Go away. Nope, that doesn't work. Why? Why don't... Let's blink. These. One of these. I'm not sure which, because I famously don't name my model parts. For the love of God, just don't be lazy and name your meshes, because right now I don't know what the fuck is what on this guy. Cube 71. Cube 71, what are you? That can't be right. That can't be right. 64, I had 71 selected. I am an idiot. Here we go. 64. What's cube 64? Why aren't you selecting it? Because that's not the correct cube 64. The hands. Let's just rename them right away. Uncommitted the sin. I am going to delete these real quick. See, that fixes it, but that means that they're gone here. No, they're not. Or, yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're gone. That means they're also gone here, so... Listen, I'm just a simpleton using somebody else's add-on. I don't know why. I don't know why, what is, and how is. Seriously. I mean, I can toggle them off, but... Oh boy. There's a few verts. There's a few verts. But that wouldn't help when I want to add new smear frames. Why aren't these saved to the action they were made on? Maybe I gotta look at the documentation for this add-on a little bit more. The tutorial was made with an ancient version of Blender. Maybe there is a Discord or something that I can go like, hi, I'm probably using this in a way that wasn't intended. Is that correct? Or so I just gotta fucking mute mute these for now. I'm just going to mute them for now. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens later on. Selecting the whole thing and saying mute all does not work. I'm just going to individually select. Oh my god. I guess the bigger the mesh, the more verts. Especially with subdivision going. It didn't register my ship. Oh no. Oh no. It didn't register. I was holding ship. Oh no. This is not going the way I had hoped. Why does it always turn into tech troubleshooting stream with me? There we go. We had another, right? Yeah, not just another. See, it doesn't work when you just click this one. It doesn't mute any. It doesn't mute any of them. It doesn't. I'm mildly annoyed here, mildly. But so I lied about not having a dual streaming setup. Dual PC streaming setup. You know what else I lied about? Not being able to find the lore book. Because it's always in the last place you check. I could have sworn it was somewhere else. But for some reason, about an hour before I started streaming, I just got this epiphany where I left it. And I went to look, and yes, there it was inside of a wooden crate that I've had since I was a little kid. And it's always in my bedroom. And well, there it was right in that crate. It's waiting. I don't remember when I put it in there or why, but it's in there and I now have it in my possession once again so I can use it for the podcast once more. It's got it doesn't have a whole lot in it yet. Like now I can also start using it again, of course. It's got the first 6 episodes in it. That's that's about it so far, and a bit of extra information. But I'm reworking some things currently, so I'm just glad that I've got it back so I can keep all the information in one place again. VTuber's tracking is a little bit off, isn't it? Because my eyes. It's not dark in here. I've got an overhead light and a desk light on, and yet the tracking is shitty camera. Shitty camera. It's it's pushing 20 in the range of pushing 20 probably, so I shouldn't call it names. But we fixed it now, right? Muted all those animations and it's fixed. Yes, so that's what the problem was. I'm I'm almost convinced that that's a bug. I'm almost convinced that that's a bug. Because I was under the impression that it saved them under like the action. And that is exactly what it did, isn't it? But the meshes are now also assigned to the action. So I have to select the entire model and get the entire model over to yeah, that's what happened. I have to now click every individual mesh. Apparently, I was on a shape key when I turned this off. I think that's the answer. I have to switch all the meshes over to the action because they're now assigned to an action because of the vert animation. Oh, the name changes when you change the name. The color also changes. That's interesting. Except now they're muted. I don't see a Thug 2 suit anymore. I am so tired of this. Why? Why you gotta be like this? Why you gotta be like this? Why do you gotta be like this? Why? Why? It's exactly what I said would happen, isn't it? You guys can watch me fail at Blender. What was its original name before I changed it? Oh, you're not changing the name back, huh? You're just undoing all that. Oh, there it went. Cube 65. Nope. There is nothing called Cube 65 here. Great. Why is there no... Give me a sec. I'm just going to reset everything I just did, in case I fucked up. I'm going to reset everything I just did in case I fucked up. Which I probably did. Considering who we're talking about, right? Absolute professional Blender animator. Been doing this for 30 years. I know exactly what I'm doing. You see, this is actually you guys' fault because I'm perfectly capable of animating when I'm alone, but when I'm being watched, I turn into a goofball who can't do anything. You know? So it's definitely you guys. You did this. You did this to me. I do gotta admit, I do enjoy streaming. Even it sort of feels like I'm talking to myself, though. Maybe in a year or two, you know, I'll have like 300 viewers. So I was watching, Mark's been streaming more often as of late. Like, Markiplier is the only YouTuber I watch at this point, and he's been streaming more around the time that I'm actually using my computer. He used to always stream, like, very early in the morning or at night for me. And lately, he's been streaming around like 10, 11. So I've been able to catch him, and then you see 60,000 people watching. I'm just like, imagine you can fill a stadium. This guy could stream from a stadium and it would be full. That is mildly terrifying to me. Like, on one hand, it's amazing that so many people are interested in what you do and what you have to say, right? But it's also terrifying because 60,000 people. 60,000. I would be impressed with 60. You know, I would be impressed if there were 60 people right now. There's two, three if you include my stream monitor. Maybe there's actually one, and one of these three is also the other Like the one I used to have the chat on the screen of the stream. I don't know. But there's at least one person watching, and I know who it is. It's not my mom. It's also not my dad. My mom's gone. It's also not my dad. He doesn't even know I have a YouTube channel, I think. It's my friend. Ghost friend. Of one. Well, let's see, like, right now it's on the other view layer. That is a little stressing my computer out a little bit. Right now, both these view layers are stressing my computer out. Why? Why? We've been over this. There's nothing special on the screen. It's just one model. Can't you even handle one model? Nope, it cannot. It's 0.75 FPS. Why? The other day I was streaming and it was test streams and it was 24. Come on. Come on, why? Oh, but this doesn't have any smear frames now. No, it does. Okay, it does have smear frames. Just didn't want to load them in. Uh, yeah, I'm going to temporarily, no, that's not gonna help. That's only, the power usage is high, but it's only 30 megabytes. It's really Blender that's using fucking 3 megabytes. Or 3,000. 3,000 megabytes of my fucking RAM. 0.1% of my CPU. Then why aren't you doing anything? There we go. I'm so sorry, guys. This is as much as of a test stream for me as it is for you guys. I've been running a couple test streams over the past couple days, but clearly not long enough. See how it reacts over time. See, it happens again. These are the smear frames that belong to that other animation. Why? Why? But at least now I know what's going on, so I can ignore it. I'm going to ignore it for now. I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it when time comes that I'm going to actually render this shot, because now I need to I need to redo the bag. I need to redo the bag. The bag. That's its name, the bag. And when I need to find something, I do name it. I should be more consistent with the naming. You guys got anything you want to talk about? By the way, don't feel shy to bring it up. I mean, I'm just rattling on here all day, constantly, with stuff that comes to mind. But if you guys have anything in particular that you're interested in, then feel free to bring something to the table that I can talk about. I'm just, oh my, oh my. No, 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 no. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're doing there, but it ain't what you're supposed to be doing. That ain't what you're supposed to be doing. That also isn't, but it's probably closer. Nope. Okay, so now it appears that it's fully, completely, and entirely corrupted. Alright. Feel free to reset anytime you like. Oh, right. Because it's I was wondering why is it connected to that rig again, but it's not. It's not. Jump scare, like personal jump scare. Maybe this will work. Nope, that's also wrong, and that's also wrong. So it's just completely corrupted now. Okay, that's too bad. Womp womp. In that case, we'll just why? I can't reset the skill because it's not 0. Anyway, now you're actually going to watch me animate, even if it's, fixing on a previously existing animation that no longer exists for some reason. Okay, this is now annoying the hell out of me. Because why? Why does this no longer match? I don't know. But I guess I'll just have to fix it manually, because what doesn't have to be fixed manually? Like, it's straight up every time I stream. It only happens when I stream. Oh, wait. Was it just because of a... No. No. I already cleared the transform. Oh well. Now we're actually animating. Now we're actually animating. But why are you not playing nice with the timeline, good sir? Because you're starting over there. That's your starting position. Apologies. The bag is just way off base. That's what's going on. Why? Can you piss off? Thank you. I just reset this. Why are you again over there? I don't get it. This is how I made you. Not whatever the hell it is that you decided to do. By the way, I forgot to set this one on top. Report. Where is in front? Where is in front, my friend? That's not there, that's here. In front. I was looking at the bone, not at the rig. I was looking at the bone. Gun. Go away, gun. I'm actually not sure, like, I'm definitely going to change those shots because of the lore. The lore has changed around James's powers, so those shots are no longer canon. But I'm not entirely sure how I'm going, because I have a lot less time because of the shots I decided to remake. Demons be out today. Animation demons. Yeah, it appears so that my blender is haunted, and it's just my blender is haunted. That's the only explanation I've got. We're just gonna go with my blender is haunted. It's got a mind of its own. But at least that I'm used to, that it's usually got a mind of its own. That's something I'm used to by now. I'm just not used to this amount of mind of its own. And now I completely forgot what I was saying 2 seconds ago. As I thought was like, oh, I'll get back to that thought. Hold that thought, and the thought was sand between my fingers. The thought was sand, and my fingers were a colander. However you say that in English. I don't, I'm trying to remember. I really do not have, I do not possess the memory. I do not possess the memory of what I was talking about. If you hear that once again, that's my cat demanding attention. But he always just yells and then leaves. Oh, he's gone. He's gone already. I swear to God, I was saying something, but I don't remember what. So, I'm trying to think of something new to say. Clearly was something, with, meaning. It clearly was something with meaning. When people turning my ghost character into a blender Sarah. Why did they turn her into a blender? Or did they put her into, like, Blender, the program? So I can do that. I can take your VRM and I can put them in here. Why? You see, this is the type of shenanigans that should not be happening right now because I have keyframe recording enabled, good sir. Excuse you, mind you. Can you just behave? Thanks. Yeah, you did. You broke my phone. Is there that much of a delay, by the way? Is there that much? That's like a solid 3 to 5 minute delay. Oh no. Oh, that's a ginormous delay. Is that normal when streaming? That there's a delay of like 6 hours between chat and the person, the streamer, between like stream and me, the streamer. Because I feel like that shouldn't be that much. Maybe that's normal. You know, maybe Blender's like me. Is nervous. It's nervous because it's gotta perform for people for the first time. Usually it's just me, and it knows me, and it's not nervous around me anymore. But now there's new people. Oh God, really? She possessed a household blender. She can turn characters into smoothies. I might be about to ruin your day, but that's definitely got to be somebody's fetish. That's got to be somebody's fetish for sure. So let's just know that somebody's probably. I shouldn't be talking about this. This is. I did click. It's not made for kids, but it's I don't know. That's just my kind of humor. You'll get to hear a whole lot more of it as I continue streaming. See, it's gone off. It's gone off the center again. I am mildly annoyed at this. Very mildly annoyed. Stupidly annoyed. Probably the reason it keeps happening. Yeah, figured. I figured that. Oh man, almost makes you miss DeviantArt, you know? Every once in a while you would get one of those fucking weird dudes in your comments and they would just fucking spam endlessly about the kind of stuff and try to RP with you and then you go check their profile and it would be all like MS Paint drawings or like screenshot edits of characters in a certain way. It's especially like I was a teenager and I had no idea. Sometimes, you'd get one of those like weird commissions. Back then I was still accepting DeviantArt points instead of, like Monopoly and money instead of real money. That sort of thing. And you'd get like these weird-ish commissions, and only now do I realize that yeah, those were all fetish commissions. Oh, I do feel bad for kids. Oh, that happened to you too? Someone tried to insert their lore into your story? Like, that happened to me too. Like, this person made this whole OC and posted about that OC everywhere. Like, their entire profile page was dedicated to that OC. And I was like, no, no, no. Also, sir, you are a grown ass man, and I'm like 14. Please stop. You know, but I'm glad that that's not exclusive to DeviantArt. Then that kind of interesting individual, I'll just call them, because that's what they are for sure. Interesting individuals. And sometimes they're just kids. They're not always grown ass people. Sometimes they're kids, and kids just gotta learn. Okay, not that, not that. How did I start doing 3D? Well, for a long time, I've messed with 3D as a teenager, but I couldn't figure it out. My PC also just the old PC that is now my streaming PC was not exactly up to snuff to create 3D animations. And also, if you don't know what try count means, you probably shouldn't be touching 3D. So for a long time, I thought that 3D was out of my reach. And then it started as this little test for like a kart, an indie. Like I was like, oh, what if we did Mario Kart? It was the Sonic racing bug had hit me like a train. I was like, what if we did Mario Kart, but it's actually all my indie friends' characters, like indie animation characters. So I tried to first do a 2D racing and I couldn't figure that out. And then I was like, yeah, but 3D is too hard. 3D is too hard. 3D is too hard. I can't do 3D. And at one point, I was like, yeah, you're just gonna look up a tutorial and you're gonna see how far you can get. And well, that same afternoon, I had a low poly 3D character of uh of my character. So I found out that I had actually been a little baby about it. And when I finally stopped telling myself I can't do it, and I tried and I realized I actually could do it. The floodgates were kind of opened because the past few months I've been having more and more pain in my hand, and when I'm stressed, I also have a tremor, and that tremor can get really bad. Like when I'm doing stuff around the house, like I was doing renovations for my new apartment recently. When I start drilling into a wall, for example, I had solid concrete walls in the other place. So you have to push quite hard. And here I had to do a lot of wallpapering. And so after doing that all day, my hand would just uncontrollably shake. So I have that. And the pain is getting so bad certain days that if I draw for more than an hour at a time, it just I literally can't hold my pen anymore. It hurts so much. And I recently purchased an ergonomic mouse, which helps a lot with the pain management. And I already had a mouse pad with a wrist rest built in. So this is basically like it went from I can't do this. This is too hard to actually this is not as hard as I thought, and it's sort of become my new hyperfixation for the time being, if I'm allowed to call it that. So I have not been able to put this down since I started. And also as an alternative to pain management because 2D drawing just hurts too much certain days. That's how I started doing 3D. And, the more you get into it, the more you learn, the more interest you get in it personally. Like, I've just been consuming tutorials how to make simulations and subdivision and blend shapes and all this stuff, and it's just so interesting to me, and it's just it an itch in my brain is being scratched, and when that itch is scratched, I am enjoying it. So it's sort of a necessity, but it's also become an interest. And it's maybe for the better that you didn't understand English when you got those requests, because especially nowadays, like when we were young, like 10, 15 years ago, when we were like 10, 15 years old, the internet was, well, especially when I was like 8, like there was now kids running around with iPads who they were born with that iPad clutched in their little mitts. And I'm just like, you cannot be on the internet. You are 8 years old. Like, there were creeps when I was 12, and the number of creeps is only like gone times 10. And so that's the internet was a very different place when we were young, and it's not gotten any safer. So if I need more 3D supplies, commissioning me, I'm always I'm currently streaming on two 10-year-old, almost 10-year-old PCs, so I'm probably gonna need something at some point for sure. I appreciate that, and I am a fast learner. Sometimes it depends. Like sometimes I tend to be kind of slow actually because an example would be economics, which I took in high school. We don't really have the middle school high school thing. We just have depending on in 6th grade, the final year of elementary school, you take a final test to see how fucking dumb you are. Basically, that's basically what the test means. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but yes, they are categorizing kids by intelligence level, and based on that, you go to a different school. Yeah, it does piss me off sometimes. That's why I said it that way. And so then, depending on your intelligence level, you also have 4, 5, or 6 years of school. So I initially went to the 6 years because my parents insisted I should, and I am one a disaster at math. I'm pretty sure I have some kind of dyscalculia. I'm not sure how you call it in English, but like dyslexia, but with numbers. Dyscalculia. Dyscalculie is what it's called in Dutch. Economics, like year 3 of 6, and I ended up going to the 5-year school after that because fuck math. In 5-year school, you were allowed to drop math. So that's what I did. Fuck math. I mean, year 3, I didn't get a single passing grade, basically. And then I switched schools, and in year four, I got the same, like, basically, that was a repeat of the subjects that we got at the other school in year three. And I was shitting bricks because I was like, I got an F. I got an F for this last time. And I was fully expecting to get an F again because I did not know what I was doing. I understood it about as well as I did the previous time. And somehow I got an A that time. I just sat there, I got my test back, and I stared at it for like 5 minutes. It was, bruh. Yeah, I'm not always a fast learner. Apparently, it needed some time to simmer or something. Math, I never got a passing grade either in 3 years. I started with an F and I left that school with an F. Like a 4.5 and a 5.5 is, or no, not even a 4.5, a 4.2, which, like, 42%. If 100% is an A, 42% is like an F, I guess. You also failed math. We are failing at math, buddies. I did not get accepted into art school either. Like, I applied when I was 16, and I applied again when I was 20, and both times I was told, you have a sufficient enough skill set. I should stop yapping anime. Stop yapping. Stop yapping. Animate. You're yapping. But yeah, I did not get into art school because every school I applied to said you have sufficient enough skill, but you do not think like an artist. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Even like years later, I'm still like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what do you want from me? What the hell is thinking like an artist? Get the fuck out of my house. I still don't know what thinking like an artist means. But I guess they sort of mean that I come to conclusions too quickly. Like, I have an idea, and I try one or two things, and then I find something that works, and then I go do that thing. When they want you to try and fail 10 million times and paint with your own orifice blood, orifice fluids, and all that weird shit. So I'm not experimental enough. I guess I don't know what it means. Like the second time I tried, more mixed media, more different kinds of media, paint, chalk. I painted with coffee, for fuck's sake, for that second attempt, and it was still no. So I don't know. You fell asleep doing your reading test? Well, if you had extra time, did you fall asleep after you finished it? Because that happened to me in my English exam too. We had 2 hours to finish the exam, and we were not allowed to leave until like an hour had passed. That's the rule. You have like 2 to 3 hours depending on the subject, and then you're only allowed to leave after an hour has passed at the minimum. And I was done in like 20 minutes, and I had not slept the night before, and I already had like problems with fatigue, so I was super tired, and I fell asleep. The monitoring teacher woke me up like, it's time you can go. It was like, oh shit, really? I fell asleep. But I did get an A. You know, it is being able to yap the way I am is a skill. And you know why? Because I took a philosophy class in high school, which was an extra class you had to take, like one of those subjects to fill out your schedule, sort of, more or less. And I had the highest grade in the country when I graduated. I had the highest graduating grade in the country. like only 200 kids, so it's not like it's a massive achievement or anything, but it's it was still a high grade. You know, the highest grade, an A plus, the highest grade on my diploma as well. So there's that. That's my only claim to fame. What what camera did I assign to this shot again? Say. So that's always what I assign to my yapping ability. That I got that grade because I yapped so much and so well. I just yapped them under the table. All right, that's huh? Where are you going? Where are you going? What is this? Where are you going? The camera's over there, my guy. The camera's over there, my guy. Are you in the correct spot still? Yeah, the camera's still in the correct spot. Where are... No, 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 that's the wrong layer. Oh, it's going to explode for a second, guys, because it's going to load the background. You fell asleep in a 6-hour reading test? What kind of torture is that? But at least you woke up in time then, right? What the hell? A 6-hour test? That sounds like torture. Oh my god. Sometimes I feel like I miss school because structure. Structure is something I need to survive. But at the same time, like, then I remember everything else that was school. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, actually. So, we're not missing anything. It's, kind of a love-hate relationship in the end. Let me guess, that's an object transform, isn't it? It's an object transform. We do not want object transforms in this house. No, it's not an object transform, is it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Okay. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Okay. I guess I'll just delete that one. I do need these enabled for... Yeah, because where the fuck are you? I still don't know why you're doing that, but... And you're also in the air. Why? What is... Why is... What is and why is... Yeah, in the end, I am pretty hyped that I taught myself to do 3D, not only because it's so much easier on my hand to animate in 3D, but also because it's a whole new skill set, you know? And it's not like you have to you have a limited like skill number of skill slots where you have to give up 2D in order to learn 3D. And it's just game. I'm also working in Unity. Like, we are going to get to the Unity thing in another stream in the future. But that's like double, you know. It's you can do 2D in Unity, but you can also do 3D and C sharp coding, C sharp. Like, I'm doing all the things that kid me said no, those are too difficult. I will never learn how to do 3D, and I will never learn how to make a game because coding is too hard. Like, really? Because you're doing it right now. So, you could say that I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty proud of myself. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's just something we're going to have to deal with if I want to keep this pose. Not to have to remake it. Okay. It's just something I'm going to have to accept because of my animation sins from the past. No, yeah, they do let you leave after finishing, but there's a rule that you have a set amount of time to prevent kids from just writing down random answers and leaving, I guess. They do want you to put in actual effort. I think that's the reason they lock you inside for an hour so you actually take your time and don't rush to finish early. At the end of the day, I'm not really that sad I didn't get into art school anymore because if I had, I probably would have left for a US studio job at one point. And if I had gone to the US or Canada, I would have, come back empty handed because there are no fucking jobs over there no more. Gonna make me a handmade DVD menu? Oh, really? I tried. I got into that in 2020 for a while when the first Kickstarter was about to launch, and I still had hope that this was gonna fucking go anywhere. Which, if you know, the Kickstarter ended all of them ended in sadness. But I did look into trying to make a DVD menu because I was going to do the same thing Mark did. I was going to do the same thing Mark is doing right now. I was going to make all these DVDs myself. If the Kickstarter had succeeded, I would have made all the DVDs myself. And it was probably a stupid idea. Yeah, art school is starting to feel like a scam. It's just you get out, you don't even necessarily learn the skills you need to because you don't really learn the business side of the art. So you also don't learn to navigate contracts and advocate for yourself, and those are important things, that you do need to learn. But you just don't learn them. They don't teach you how to negotiate, how to read a contract, and how to negotiate so you don't get fucked, and freelancing and all the important stuff. And they just give you a ball of clay and tell you make an abstract sculpture. I'm here for fucking animation. Why are you giving me you know charcoal draw? I am here for animation. I don't want to do charcoal drawing. Give me the computer with the animation software on it. Why are we wasting our time? I guess not everything is a waste of time, like figure drawing and anatomy classes and those sorts of things, but art school just stuffing their curriculum with shit that has nothing to do with the thing you're actually studying. And that is why they didn't accept me. That's why they didn't let me in, because I think those things are bullshit. And then you see some. I'm going to make a really rude comment now, but an art school graduate with an absolutely dog shit film. You're like, I could have done that without art school. You paid 20,000 euros for that? Fuck off. You deserve your student loan. Anyway. Oh no, they jumped 2 years into 1 year. Oh, that. Oh, nightmare scenarios. I did end up going to college for a bit. It was called creative business. Like you could after that study, you could work in like production, like a PA or um. Let me tell you, there was a whole lot of marketing and nothing else. You didn't even get to work on like a film related assignment until the end of the year. There was one film related assignment. Everything else was just fucking events. Festivals I literally never heard of, and everything was group assignments. And then COVID hit, and my teachers just literally ignored their emails, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not here for your entertainment. Oh no, 22 grand in debt. Oh no. Oh, oh no. No. I'm sorry to hear that. I I was a little rude making that comment, wasn't I? I mean, the average Dutch college student has like 50 grand in debt, and I'm just like, oh, like most of us live with our parents in college. I don't understand how you get to 50 grand in debt when tuition is like 3 grand a year. Where the fuck is all the other money going to? You know? Yeah, I'm just a college dropout. I didn't even technically didn't finish my first year because the final assignment for the first year was a group assignment, and my group was one guy that bailed halfway through, so I couldn't do the assignment. Yeah, that was fun. So I got a second chance to do it on my own in see smear frames. Oh god, I hate this. I got a chance to do it on my own in like halfway through the second year. And then they told me I didn't do it right when I did the exact same thing as a classmate. You know, my assignment, I structured it the exact same way, and it wasn't like copied, but like they gave me their assignment to look at like what am I actually supposed to do, because it's supposed to be like a 3-4 people group assignment, and I'm now doing it on my own. So basically, apart from like the content, our assignments were identical. And he was like, yeah, well then they got lucky that they passed. And I was like, oh, we're doing it like this, you know. And then he was like, yeah, you can, yeah, I'm here if you need my help, and I'm always available to answer questions over email. And then I sent 4 emails in the span of like 2 weeks, and he didn't reply to a single one of them, and that's when I decided to drop out. So that's the story of why I dropped out of college. Also, because one of my teachers was anal about having your camera on and directly in front of you. I did not have space on my desk to have my camera directly in front of me because that meant I couldn't see my screen. And then she was like, yeah, well, you either move your screen somewhere else then, or. And then one of the guys in our group had not even been present for that meeting. Like, he was late. He came in like half an hour late. And then he had the gall to say, like, yeah, well, the teacher told you to fix your camera. I was like, yeah, well, you shouldn't, your soccer training was more important than school, wasn't it? So, yeah, I knew that I was not going to survive that group project without exploding. mentally. So that was decision two that decided to, like if you're not gonna show up to a meeting because you had a soccer training and then show up late to the second meeting and then have the gall to tell me that I am not participating properly in the group project because my camera happens to be at an unapproved angle, then yeah. I am too autistic. I am too autistic to participate in projects like that. I just, no. We have three projects a year, and all three were group projects. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is bullshit. I am here for my grade, and I get that in college you're supposed to do group assignments because you learn to collaborate, right? That's important. You have to learn to collaborate because in the workplace you end up collaborating with coworkers constantly as well. I just couldn't do it. My grade depends on idiots. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have to collaborate with coworkers at work as well, but thankfully my fucking salary doesn't depend on whether or not my coworker decides to clock in that day. You get my point? Like, oh, oh, no. I couldn't do it. I could not. I could not do that. And it's sad to hear that you fell out with the VAs of your student films. I made two in high school because we were free to choose the medium of our final year project, so I chose to make two animated films, which are absolute ass. They are absolute ass. One of them got 50,000 views somehow, but they are ass because they were made in like 2 months. They were made in 2 months, and they are absolute ass. And I didn't involved involved. I didn't involve voice actors on purpose because of the how fast they had to be made. And I mean, yeah, that when a project you make a project together and you have a falling out, then that means that project is permanently like tainted, that is sad. So I definitely get that. I remember an artist I used to like, they were big in the Phineas and Ferb scene in like the early 2010s to mid 2010s. Their fan art is actually how they got a job at Disney in the first place because Dan and Swampy loved their work. And they also had a falling out with a friend that they were working on like a show, sort of, a show, potential show idea with. And they had a falling out, so they ended up dropping that too. So I've seen it happen before. It's a shame. Yeah, I get that. Like, if your show is so creative and so inventive, and just because it's in a medium people don't expect or don't understand, then suddenly like there's no interest, and that's, yeah, that pisses me off, honestly. Because people always talk like how creators need to like manage their expectations, but it's also like the audience, like, we want more indie shows because the industry isn't treating artists right. Okay, then, yeah, accept our low budget shows, our volunteer made shows, our, you know, not everyone has the resources to make a professional looking show. Not everyone has the resources to go into animation, in the first place, period. Like, Ed's World was massive. Does that look like has been? No. So you're saying that Eddsworld wouldn't stand a chance in the 2020s? Probably. Nobody would be watching anything that was put on Newgrounds in the 2000s if, yeah, it was uploaded today. That's just the fact. Nobody would be watching Salad Fingers in 2026. Nobody would be watching uh, Hot Diggity Demons like My Little Pony animations in 2026. Just the standard has gone up, and in a way, it's a good thing, like that we have like people have access to the same tools that the big studios previously had under lock and key. Like they were the only ones who had access to the software. So in a way, it's power to the people now that we also have professional animation software that we can use to produce our own shows. That's basically like Karl Marx's fucking wet dream. But there's still money involved. Like, okay, Blender's free, but do you know how much the PC costs that I'm fucking running this on? And that's in like 2018 money. If I had to get the equivalent of this card, like it's a 2080 Ti. Like the equivalent of this card today, like it's still a 2080 Ti, but like in like range, you would be spending $2,000-3,000 just on the card. Hi, 16 stars. Glad you could make it to my first VTuber animating in Blender stream. Welcome, very, very welcome, everyone. 4 people. I mean, I guess 3, including my own chat monitor. A point and click game. I love point and click games, I aren't there like super popular point and click games? Even like the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is a point and click adventure game, right? Like so I guess that has IP attached to it, but come on. Like people need to be willing to give, just like the studios, people need to be willing to give new IPs a chance. Because there's great stuff being put out by great people and nobody's seeing it. Yeah, that's exactly my point. Like even now the prices have gone up even further, for equipment. You'd be easily paying like for a computer with these specs, even now, you'd be paying at least like $2,000. And these are old specs if you wanted to have like, and I meant like this card and at like the level it was in 2018. You'd be spending like probably 5 to 6 grand on a PC. Who the fuck has 5 to 6 grand lying around? And this can barely fucking run Blender, might I add. Because let me show you what happens when I click play. 1.5 FPS. Yeah. It's probably more like 10 to 15 when you guys aren't here, when I'm not streaming. But even with that disabled, it's 18 FPS, So that's not the full 24. That's not the full 24. That's my point. Like this is barely enough to be able to run this program without it constantly fucking crashing. So just because the tools are available to us doesn't mean that everyone has access to them. It's great that Blender is a free alternative to the uber expensive Maya. But you still need the same PC. You still need the same PC, Did Clip Studio break your PC, or did Or are you thanking Clip Studio for existing on iPad? Because I have a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro because I found a refurbished one for like half the price, and it does not justify the price. It does not. Why is this thing so fucking expensive? Because it's barely a laptop. The only convenience is that I no longer have to drag around a laptop and a tablet, and that it's just in a one, you know. But it's ass, and it's cheaper to just get a laptop with the same fucking specs, you know. And that's what I mean. Just because the tools are available doesn't mean they're accessible because it's expensive as fuck. And that's what still makes it hard to be a creative. Is that what you're okay? Yeah, Clip can run an iPad. Clip can run on pretty much anything. I think there's even an Android version. Mobile Studio Pros just run on Windows, so I had no trouble porting my stuff over, at least. I haven't used it in so long. I used it at conventions when it's too hot to use my PC to draw. But it cannot. It cannot. That thing cannot. It would explode. Oh, there's a really good tutorial. If you're stuck rigging your character, there's a really good tutorial out there. There's two, actually. There's one for low poly and there's one for high poly. I will briefly look up the name of the tutorials that I use to make my models. Let me no Google. Google is broken. Broken. I swear to God, that shitty fucking AI. Crash Sune Academy. Oh, Crash. Here you go. Crash Sune Academy. They have a very clear step-by-step low poly modeling and rigging tutorial. So that's the one I used. They are in English, no worries. I don't watch Dutch content because all our content creators are ass. I said it. I offended them all now, but they are ass. One of them actually uses AI. Like Quebble Cop, he turned himself into an AI. He's too lazy to make actual content. Or maybe he switched back to making real content again because nobody fucking liked his ass making AI content with a fucking Snapchat looking ass VTuber. Like those Facebook emojis that my grandma always sends me over, that's supposed to be herself, but it looks nothing like her. That's what that thing looked like. Most of them make content in English anyway, except the ones that make it for literal toddlers. Those create content in Dutch. Yeah, I don't like Dutch. I don't like Dutch movies. I don't like Dutch content. I hate, basically hate everything this country produces, including the politicians. So you won't catch me watching Dutch videos on YouTube. More? Are there more Dutch YouTubers that use AI now? Like, the only ones I know are, like, Dylan Hagens, because his face was in every, like, toy shop for a while. He's, like, the Dutch odd ones out, I guess. I don't really know. And, like, these two guys that have a movie that's, like, the Shane Dawson movie level of shit. About their dog going to space or something. Yeah, I basically don't watch like Dutch TV anymore. I cannot go 5 minutes without an AI image floating across my screen. Even informative, like consumer protection programs. We've got two that are. You are Dutch, aren't you? I'm just going to explain it for the other people in the there's consumer protection programs that basically just go like scams and solar panels, like people that call for solar panels and don't just steal your money. They usually call old people and, that sort of thing. Like, did a furniture store not deliver your couch? Or did it break after 2 days and you're not getting your money back? And you get to put the pressure of the television behind that honest business person and get your money back from them. But those, even those are using AI images, and I just sit there like refusing to watch anything. Like I just turn it off. Whenever I see an AI image come on screen, I just turn my TV off. At this point, it's just like no, goodbye. So I am close to finally canceling my fucking cable subscription because what the fuck am I even using this for anymore? It's all fucking AI. Ads and ads. Oh, they're so fucking creepy and uncanny. You can just tell it's AI right away because AI can't do human textures like skin. It can't. It's always shiny like everyone's made of fucking rubber. It's terrifying. And it actually makes me want to buy your product less and not more. I don't think that marketing bureaus and brands quite realize that yet. That you've seen the posters of the movie, you know the one I'm talking about, like with the white fluffy dogs, the white fluffy dog that goes. I've seen like a trailer of it. It's like the dog is an alien or something, and it goes into its doghouse and then flies off. I don't know. Yeah, drugs. Drugs is the best way to describe the behavior of the people that use it too. Is that tweet that's been floating around like, could you last a minute without ChatGPT? I'm like, so far I have been. And then it was like a 40-year-old man typing that. I'm like, sir, you used the phone book when you had to call someone. You used the phone book. You can survive without ChatGPT. It's just insane. I have no other words for it than it's just insane, and I don't get it, and I refuse to get it because I'm pretty sure you can gaslight an LLM into believing the sky is purple within like 5 minutes. You just ask it, is the sky blue? Yes, the sky is blue. No, it's actually purple. Oh, you're right. Thanks for catching that. The sky is indeed purple. You know, it's intelligent. My ass. The Avengers would have died if Tony Stark's Jarvis was like ChatGPT. The Avengers would have fucking died. But then again, Ultron wouldn't have been able to do jack shit, so maybe it would have been a good thing. Imagine Ultron with ChatGPT's level of competence. Like we would not have had a movie. We would not have had a movie. Yo, they try to be something hurt so badly. Don't talk about Samsung hurt. Like they apparently Gert was a divorced man with a child and his dog is immortal. Like apparently, I thought it was a lonely bachelor with his dog and his two very obviously gay friends. The mayor and Mr. Spaghetti were obviously gay. Like Christ, I'm surprised that the actor for the mayor was actually straight because holy fuck. You do not play a garden gnome for 20 years as a straight man. You do not. But apparently, like character host was tired of the character and decided to hand his real daughter, like she's actually his real life daughter. But I don't recall him having a daughter in the original show. It's like great. Kids are too stupid to realize that. Anyway, so just let the kids have their show. If I want the real thing, I can always just look it up on YouTube. Sometimes I get pretty nostalgic for stuff like that, like shows from when I was a kid. So much of it has just become lost media because we haven't bothered to preserve any of it. Which is sad. I actually tried to find a Buzz Lightyear Star Command like show on DVD, and it was never released on DVD, not even on VHS. Only the pilot, which was repackaged as a movie. Only that is available for purchase anywhere. So it's kind of sad that that show is just lost media, like mostly lost media anyway. Because episodes are available on YouTube, but not all of them. So I hate it when, like companies just throw their own content in the trash because they don't care about it. And that's why we gotta get better at, preserving media. But then there's also the issue of VHSs just like wear down over time. Discs can get disc rot. So it's at the end of the day, it's a losing battle. Even film. Like if you open up an old film tin, there's a chance that the film has just fucking turned to dust. The Buzz Lightyear movie, I bought it on DVD the other day. So I was like, I gotta have this before it disappears forever. They might as well just stop selling them at some point. Although I'm pretty sure I got mine secondhand, but sold as new. It was obviously resealed. Which I don't mind, but just don't, like, charge new pricing for it. It was only $8, so it was probably secondhand, sold as new, but for a secondhand price, so that's okay. Domino art, Domino Day, they don't do that anymore, do they? Or is that something that maybe I'm a little too young to know what it is? Because that could also be a possibility. My parents threw out all of the VHSs, I think, that we had as a kid. There's one that I would have loved to set on fire personally, but my brother probably would have not wanted me to. You can guess which one. It's with the black-haired kid on the front cover, and it's a blue background, and there's at least one transphobic guy on the cover who's now dead and buried. He should be. I'm kidding. I'm kidding you, Chip. I'm kidding. I'm not saying. Yeah, Domino Day. It is Domino Day. They don't do that anymore. Because there's no budget. Same with like the firework show in Rotterdam. There's no budget. There's no budget for fun. There's only budget to fucking shoot each other and create prisons for innocent people to, throw them back out into the street because we don't want them here. That's we got plenty of money for that. We got plenty of money to do evil. But for fun, whimsy stuff, there's no money. And that's about as far into politics as I intend to get here. Ugh. I wish we did more fun stuff, like as a whole, as a people, as a human people, that we did more fun stuff. Oh, he's running straight through. He's running straight through the damn chairs. That's Sorry, sir. Oh, do you mind scooting over a little so you don't run through the chair? Thank you. Yeah, we as humans should do more fun stuff together and less fighting as a whole. But I know that's just a bunch of wishful thinking. I really don't understand, what happened? I really don't understand what happened to this animation. Like, it's just blank. Uh, The action is still here, and like the slot for the rake was still there, but it had no keyframes. Well, it did, but only one pose and just the move it did, and the move wasn't even in the correct direction anymore. So it's my blender is haunted, I swear. Luckily, my actual blender in the kitchen is not haunted. I got a brand new blender recently, so I can make my own milkshakes because McDonald's I don't want to go to anymore. But that's also the only like fast food place nearby here, and even if I did go there, it's expensive. It's like $5 for a milkshake these days, like four something. So I was like, how difficult is it to make your own milkshake? And it's literally just vanilla ice cream or whatever flavor ice cream you want, and some fruit and milk. Oh, I make my own now. For the price of one fucking McDonald's shake, I can now make 5 at home. 5. That's wild, yeah. So, and they're bigger too. They're 600 milliliters, 600 milliliter milkshakes for the price of one at the Golden Arches. So I've been doing more stuff like that, just make your own and more physical media. I don't really like I have some games on Steam, mostly because those games just straight up don't get a physical release, and for a long time I did not have like a console to play on certain games, at least because I do have a Switch. But like if it's only PS5, then yeah, then I'm like if it skipped the Switch, I couldn't get it. So I do have like Spider-Man Remastered and Dream Daddy on Steam, but I don't really like buying digital games to begin with. So I'm really happy that I got a PS2 for myself, and I just bought a bunch of second-hand games and second-hand GameCube games. I now have a massive library and no time to play any of them. It's sad. It makes me sad. I should make time to play video games. I'm actually curious if I could get a capture card for like old consoles, like an AV capture card, maybe, or maybe I could just put a capture card on the TV. I'm not sure. So we could play old games every now and again. Like PS2 games, the answer is simple. I have a disk drive, a USB disk drive, and I can just emulate them on my PC. But for the GameCube games, that's a different story, I guess. Yeah, I've never been to KFC, personally. So, I've never been to KFC or to, uh, Five Guys. Do we have Five Guys here? That's American, right? If we do, then probably just not where I live, because I live in some, like, backwater hick town. 20k people in it. I didn't choose to move here, but it was the only place that had an apartment on short notice. And now I have a new apartment here, so I guess I'm sticking around for a while. But this apartment is nice. Like it's actually quiet right now. I might actually be keeping my neighbors up. I'm not. I on purpose chose to get an office so I'm not near the bedrooms for either of the apartments. And if they got a problem with me streaming in the evening, they can knock on my door and tell me to knock it off. I don't mind. For a second, I saw you like say it's a replacement for The Sims, and I was like, isn't that the AI generative one? But that's in Zoe or something. I only know that exists because Darkside Phil played it, and Darkside Phil is my well, I only watch his detractors. I'm sorry, Phil, but you're not entertaining enough to watch on your own, like your own stream. So I do watch his like detractors, but I know it exists because I watch Darkside Phil from time to time because all right, it's it's been great having you, so see you next stream hopefully. Bye. So, oh, it's like an extra extensive Sims version. Because that Inzoi just looks like garbage. Like Phil's stream was hilarious though because he couldn't figure out how to get to work when it was just, get in a car or call a cab and just go to work. And then he died for no reason. So it's a shitty fucking bugged mess of a game. But at least like watching some old man get completely irate because he doesn't understand basic mechanics. That's basically Phil's whole thing. It was funny. I'm not leaving. I was just saying goodbye to Outlet. I'm not leaving. Or were you saying goodbye to Outlet as well? I'm not leaving yet. I'm probably gonna start wrapping up in 15 or 20 minutes. That's 2.5 hours to almost 3 hours of streaming. So I think that's an okay amount of time to stream. Cause I don't wanna like no, don't worry. Don't worry. I probably should have set their name. See now it's 1 FPS. It's barely running. I think they already left. Outlet is my friend. So I don't want to like end up like one of these streamers that streams for like 10 hours, 10 hours a day, you know. For now it's just a hobby and we'll see where it goes, if I can eventually like because people are interested in seeing like production related stuff for Swiss Park and actually like turn it into a thing that also makes some cash, then I might like stream more like on a schedule and more hours at a time. But for now, it's just testing the water, seeing if the computers can even handle it. No, no, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Right now we're just having fun. There's just the two of us now, so I'm glad I'm even streaming to people in general because I wasn't really expecting anyone to show up for this stream. I have 12,000 subscribers, or 11 by now, I guess. 11,000 subscribers, but those are mostly remnants of my old content. Most of those people probably don't even remember subscribing to me back when I was still making fan art rather than this original thing that hardly anyone even knows exists. So I'm glad I'm even streaming to anyone in general, you know? Because I could have been streaming to nobody at all. But you're here, so I'm streaming to somebody. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, like Markiplier with a 60,000. That was when he I think that was when he was trying 2020 mode or 1020 mode in FNAF 2 again. Or it was when he was doing Ultimate Custom Night, trying 5020 mode. He had 60,000 people watching. It was like, holy fuck. Those are terrifying numbers to me. Just filling a stadium of people, just all being interested in what you have to say. And he's also a great guy. Like, I've been subscribed to him since 2014. My brother introduced him to him because in 2012 I was watching PewDiePie, my brother was watching Mark. So I did watch him for a while before that. I started watching around the Slendy Tubbies. But Mark it does seem like genuinely like how he appears on stream is genuinely how he seems in real life. Though I do know I've been like burnt before by people who seem genuine. Most of us put on a persona on the internet. Not That's not really who we are in real life. Ghostmasters? Tell me more about Ghostmasters. I've never heard. I'm assuming it's a game, right? Ghostmasters. I'm gonna look it up. Oh, that looks fun. Spooks do your bidding. Oh, I get it. It's kind of. Oh, is it like Untitled Goose game where you have to cause chaos? Where you have to cause chaos, but then through ghosts? Is it like that? My brother used to have this PC game that sort of reminds me of Hello Neighbor, where it's just you have to also break into your neighbor's house, but then instead of to find a secret, that he's hiding in the basement, you just have to be a nuisance. Put stink bombs in his garage and like run his laundry machine or his TV when he's sleeping, that sort of thing. That's an old PC game. I can't recall the name of it. Bad Neighbor. I think it's just called Bad Neighbor. I actually have a Septiceye Sam plush. I bought that in 2014, I think in Wallaby Holland. I saw it and it was like, no way. I would have preferred a Tiny Box Tim plush, but all they had was the Septiceye Sam, so I bought that. Sean is also a great guy. He's a bit more politically outspoken than Mark. Like he's he's been doing a bit of what I would refer to Doom posting, like but then in video format as of late. And I get that he's also been open about his depression, so I get that it's probably due to that. He's different personality from work. I hope he's doing okay. I did approach his agent for Swift Spark at one point, but I think she didn't quite understand what I meant. She probably thought it was like a big TV production and not that it was a YouTube channel with that gets like 5K views per video when it's a big hit. Like, or he really just has that amount as his fee. That's also a possibility. That's just really how much he charges. He charges a lot. Let's leave it at that. I don't make it a habit of discussing how much the people I approach for shows. Neighbors from, yeah, that I think that's what it's called. Neighbors from Hell, not bad neighbors, but neighbors from hell. Yeah, 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 that's what it's called. That's what that game was called. You just have to break into his house to fuck with him. Prevent yourself from getting caught. So that kind of like, oh, is that what is Hello Neighbor like that? And then I looked it up and no, it's not. Yeah, it was on old consoles. It was on the consoles of old. Ah, God, I love that game. And we also had Worms. Worms. My brother used to love playing Worms. They don't make games like that anymore. Yeah, everything's got to be like bigger, better, ugh, more graphics. Like make your fucking PC go to the moon when you try to run one frame of a game. That might be the only benefit to this whole graphics card mess. More indie games that utilize lower fidelity graphics, but in a good way. And that's also part of the reason why, not only for the Y2K aesthetics, because the show was already going for those, and I want to stick to that theme, but also because so many people just can't run, like, uh, those big heavy games. It's always nice to see older games still getting updates. It shows that the developers care, and that there's a half decent publisher behind them. Because usually these days publishers are like, game is 2 months old. We are ceasing development and cutting support and shutting down the servers. It's like games that I didn't even know existed, and then I get in my newsfeed, oh, the server's shutting down, and the game's been active for like 2 years. I'm like, okay, $60 for like 30 bucks a year. Now you can't play it anymore. So, oh, locked behind a subscription. Never mind, I take back what I said. It's locked behind a subscription. What isn't these days? We are like, it's a kind of dystopian, but we are straight up headed for the fucking Lorax, aren't we? For the guy who found the way to sell air. We are headed for the guy who found the way to sell air. That's what this fucking everything is gonna come to. Because at some point there's not gonna be fucking anything left to monetize but air. You know? That's gonna be the last thing. And we're gonna do it. We are going to try and sell air to people. Why not? But I guess, like, as I said, like, most modern games don't get more than a year's worth of support, so it's either, I guess it's either get the subscription or get nothing. these days. This is where it's kind of taking a weird turn. I'm just going to delete that. Oh, yeah, but then you also delete that pose. It's... But I do hope, like, that indie games get a bigger, like, share of the market, because AI has made it ridiculously expensive to even, like, play video games to begin with. So the less graphic fidelity a game, the less heavy it is to run, the better for so many people these days. And that's part of the reason why I am going for the 2005, not only because the animated show had the 2005 because I wanted to keep that, but also because it's beneficial for people who otherwise wouldn't even be able to experience the game. And for a while, when I was starting to animate like this more high quality render for the recreation of the pilot, essentially, I was like, I can't combine this with my game because it's going to look weird, like these high quality cutscenes and then the low quality gameplay. And then I remembered all the games I love playing from the 2000s have literally that same thing going on. That's literally what every game in the 2000s had, like high quality pre-rendered cutscenes, and then low quality or lower polygon models in game, and that's still how games work. Like pre-rendered cutscenes are still higher in terms of polygon count, but the switch over is just less noticeable because these days game publishers are better at hiding the difference between the lower poly model and the high poly model. And the number of polygons is also just smaller, and the difference is smaller in general because whereas previously, like for in-engine stuff, a model had to be like 100 polys at most, 100 tries at most to be able to not explode or like not blow up the console when it was ran. Now a console can handle way more polygons, way more tries. So the difference between an in-game model and the the pre-rendered model just isn't as big as it was in the 2000s. But I'm going for something that can be played on lower quality devices. Like my old PC over there that's currently streaming this, or my laptop that's only got 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is another 8 gigabytes less than that PC has. That's the devices I would like to. That's also like the second reason I've set up that PC is because I want to be able to use that to play test the game. Because if it can run on that, then that's the quality I want to be able to achieve. So I've got a machine that can test. I can test the game on that's got the specs that I want to be able to run it on. And I'm even going to try to run it on my laptop because it's not a gaming laptop. It's but it is allegedly an editing laptop. But if it can run on a system that's got 8 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs is not good for editing, trust me, that I was sold a lie with that laptop. But it was $1,000 back then, and I couldn't afford anything else. And I needed a laptop for school, so I just happened to have it. I haven't used it in at least a year, so I just use my desktop. But that laptop's also like 7 years old at this point. So all my equipment is more than 5 years old. So if it can run on older hardware, then I'm satisfied. Then it's a good game. I'm purposely like creating something that can be run on older and less like powerful hardware so that more people can enjoy it and not just like the top of the line PS Pro enjoyers, PS5 Pro enjoyers. Because this computer is a beast that I'm currently running Blender on. Even if it's old, it's still a beast. It's still in the top 90, like, you know, like in the top 10% of power, computing power, in terms of PCs. So, pretty much anything you've got can run on this, even if like the most modern games can't run too well. They struggle probably on like the highest settings. Most newer games from like 2022 and beyond, those probably struggle to run on this on high quality settings. You know, imagine spending 3 grand on a gaming laptop. You might as well just get a desktop. You know, maybe that doesn't hold up anymore these days because of the insane RAM prices. And GPUs are pretty insane as well, I should add. But I've never seen like the point of buying a gaming PC that or gaming laptop that costs as much as a desktop, other than if you want to take it outside maybe, but that laptop is going to get stolen because somebody around you is going to know that it's an expensive laptop and it's going to get stolen. Like, I'm sorry, but playing games is for inside the house. That's my opinion. Unless we're talking a Nintendo DS, because ain't nobody gonna be stealing that shit anymore. I used to take my Nintendo DS everywhere like that. That was glued between my fingers. That was our iPad. Nintendo DS was our iPad. I'm not sure if I'm entirely satisfied with this. I keep looking at it over and over. I'm definitely not satisfied with the other character. It'll just have to do for now. I'm still not sure how to go about those smear frames, because those other smear frames are still in the action editor, but I thought that they would get saved to, like, the action I made them in. So I'm not sure if like that would remove, like, muting them or deleting them would delete them in the other action as well. So I'm not sure how to keep those, or if I have to just recreate them every time I want to re-render something. I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, it's here. Animal keyframes and action editor. Let's have a look. Lesson 1. Always skip past that stupid AI overview that Google throws in your face, or pretty much every single, like, I've tried several different search engines, and almost all of them throw that stupid AI overview in your face. Make every single keyframe a separate shape key. Hooking vertices to empties. Exporting a file for every single animation. And then swapping them all in the game engine. Oh no. I mean, this is from 10 years ago, but... Oh, they're not showing up in the action. That is the opposite. That is the opposite of the problem that I've got. Okay, never mind. 10-year-old forum was my only hope, but it's not. But it not. But it not. Okay, the best I can do for now, I guess, is just... I have some with shape keys. These I can just switch over to back snatch, and then those don't happen. But my problem is the animal all ones that don't, like, save themselves to the action for whatever reason. Like these don't save themselves to the action for some reason. Which is annoying, because this, using animal allows me to create custom shape key, or custom vertex animation. And shape keys, you know, I can only go as far as I made my shape key go. So that's kind of annoying. He's going too far out for this anyway. I'm going to shuffle the camera over a slight bit. Get out of the shape key editor. Dope sheet. Action editor. Back snatch. Camera 5. Yes. Delete that. We don't need that. Alright. Shuffle the camera a little to the right. That's also good. That's also good. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That is the biggest advantage to animating in 3D. You want a different angle? Just move the camera, bish. In 2D, you want a different angle? Well, you best get drawing that angle. That is an absolute nightmare to do in 2D. Like, everything has to be drawn. And here it's just the model exists and you can freely rotate around it. No problem. And that's my biggest caveat with 2D. Which is the whole point of 2D, is the drawing. And perspective, you know, that's kind of like the biggest cheat, it almost feels like, with 3D. Perspective, everything is just done on its own. Like, I don't have to struggle with perspective anymore. You know, if there's one thing I'm bad at, that it's foreshortening and perspective. But in 3D, your trusty camera does all the perspective for you. And now he no longer... he still kinda goes out of frame. Okay. He no longer goes out of frame, I said, confidently. Yes, he does. Actually. Okay. I just need to make the arc less strong that it runs into. Now that I've noticed, though, he's also not running in the right direction anymore now that oh, altered the position of that bone. It's kind of annoying. I see, I see. I see. Delete these two. Add one here. I mean, this is basically just the part of the stream where it goes silent when I have to actually pay attention and think to make it look good. Yeah, he kind of shoots from here to here over here. Delete that. Hopefully that makes it more... No, that makes him actually shoot all the way out there. Why? Why? Who told you you could do that? Who told you you could do that, boy? Who could... Nobody did. That's right. 2D will always, always, always have a special place in my heart, and it's, you know, what I wanted to go to college for and what I wanted to get a career in. I really wanted to be a storyboard artist, but right now this is just way better for me to work with my sad, sad hands. And I love it, you know. Moving the characters for the first time with a rig was like magic. Like it just fills in the in-betweens on its own. Like it's stupid and it makes ugly in-betweens most of the time, so you have to jump in and fix them like that. Just folds his foot over onto itself for no apparent reason. And now this foot is left behind. Also for no apparent reason. You can leave it a little stretched for the effect. But it just, you know, I guess it's also the math of like basically what Blender is doing right now is a whole lot of math. That's why the CPU is being used so much. As a 2D animator, you kind of have to do all that math yourself. You know, the timing and all that. And at the end of the day, it's not much different because you create a pose, you create another, and these still frames become a moving vehicle, so to say, moving image. But the lighting, it's calculating the lighting on its own, and as a 2D artist, you need to know how the lighting would fall on this shape. What shape is this? Blender knows it's a triangle. You know? That sort of thing. Like that's all done by the and actual professional animators like compositors and actual 3D artists who know this stuff a million times more than I do can work absolute magic with this. I'm just happy I can do this to begin with, you know? I do think it's about time we wrap things up here. I've got the animation back to where it was, at least. I did not get to adding the shape keys, but I did restore my lost animation. Sort of, because this is a mess. Why is this a mess? It looked fine from above. That's also a huge benefit, being able to just look at it from multiple angles. Just- just- I do have a newfound, like, respect and love for this animation type. Yeah, he stays in place here for like several frames, is what it looks like. That's what is off. It looks like he's running in place. He isn't, but how much ground he covers here, and then... Yeah, okay, this is wrong. You're going in the wrong direction, buddy. And this is also off. This turn here should be moving more. That does make him pop out of frame again. But the big downside is that you need a really good computer to be able to do this. That is the biggest downside. But that goes for anything 3D, even Unity. Unity takes up so many resources when you go into 3D as well. Lighting, like, oof. Like, I'm not a star at getting lighting to work in Unity. I gave up on that. But it was what I was doing was absolutely killing my PC. Whatever I was doing was killing everything. Unity crashed several times while I was trying to bake lighting in a big scene. That's why I ended up giving up, because it would just crash every time, and I clearly had no idea what it was doing, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, this is... if it's crashing my computer, it's not going to be, like, a good fit for the game as a whole. If I want a lower spec computer to be able to run my game. So I'm looking at other games that have unlit graphics, what they did and how they did it, to kind of learn what other alternate methods there are to achieve the same effect, but without the computing power. And there's also a lot, not only from, like, modern indie games that are, made in current day, but also from PlayStation 1 and 2 games, because they have tried and true methods, that were made specifically for the graphics cards and the CPUs that were in the consoles at the time. It's still wild to me that the PlayStation 3 has less than a gigabyte of RAM, and yet can run graphic games that graphically hold up super well. Like, it really does. It really does have only 500 MBs of RAM. That's half a gig. Like, my first smartphone had like 2 gigs of RAM. And it was an old Samsung Galaxy Young from 2014. It cost like 60 bucks. Can you imagine? A 60-buck phone in 2026? They charge more for those old Nokias at the fucking thrift store these days. I really don't know when and where life got so expensive on us. But it did. It did. Life just got expensive. And that's why I'm doing. I've already said this a billion times, yeah. It's getting late. I'm trying to be quiet for the neighbors. I should start wrapping this up. Once I've got these positions tied down, once I'm satisfied. Holy, what are you doing, my guy? What are you doing and why are you doing it? I'm just going to, because that's a off-key one again. Remove both of those. That's too far back. Okay. That's also too far back. That's better. Yeah, but now he hangs here. So we delete this and we see where he ends up then. And back there, and that's... You see, I'm still, like, learning how this exactly works with the bones. But I also feel like it's just kind of, you gotta get a feeling for it. Like, at the end of the day, you can look at a million tutorials, and you can look at them and you can copy them, but if you don't get them, you're not really going to learn. And what I mean by that is, if you just copy something and copy and copy and copy, eventually you're gonna get the copying down, but as soon as you do something that's not a copy, you're going to struggle. And that's why in game design, for example, I'll talk about this more in depth when I'm actually, like, working in Unity on a later stream. Still hangs there. I don't like that. I don't like this. This is a problem. I'm just gonna... Yeah, he just falls back because I mess with the position. This looks good. This does not. But I like breaking it down into... When I need a tutorial, I don't look for a... For example, you want to make a phone feature, like, so you have a... For example, your character can send texts in the game. Or you can receive texts, or you have a web browser, or maybe a maps feature that's on the phone. You want to make a phone system. Then don't look for phone, Unity phone tutorial. Now break it down. What do you need? What does this feature, what does this phone need to do? I want to make a text feature. Like, I want to be able to receive texts from characters and send texts back. Okay, do I want to be able to type myself, or do I want to select pre-selected messages? I want to be able to type myself. Okay, so I need to make an input. Like, I need to make a graphic, an image of a phone. That's one part. What I need to figure out, how to make the graphic, the art, the UI elements. Then I need to make a system that allows the player to type in a box and send it. And then I need to make a system that allows the other character to reply. And if you break that down into those three systems, then you can look up, text input box Unity tutorial. Then you're gonna get 100 tutorials. If you look up phone tutorial Unity, you're gonna get maybe 2 tutorials, and neither are going to be what you need. You need to be able to think, what does this feature actually consist of? What are the building blocks that make it that feature? That is basically what I mean by you need to understand. Don't just follow the tutorial, but understand what it is you're doing. And that's when you're going to start, like, learning and being able to do stuff on your own. When you can break the tutorials down into, the features you need to, the features you want to implement, the systems, the game, the items, into separate, like, parts. But that also means you need to understand, like, what is the element I'm actually trying to add. Because phone is ambiguous, but text input is something that you can directly look up, that hundreds of people have documented, that is just out there available for you to, look up. I'll probably talk about that more, because this was a very specific, like, Unity idea. In Blender, it's more like, I want to model a tree. Okay, but what kind of tree, and what part of the modeling do I need help with? Like, for example, the leaves. You look up particle system, but you kind of need to know what particle system is before, you know, you can really know that that's used to make stuff like trees or fur, or that's my best advice. Like, if you struggle with tutorials, like, learn to understand what it is you're trying to do before you start looking for tutorials. I think I am happy with this. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to, it's almost midnight. We are approaching midnight here, so I am going to leave it here for the night. My, poor little VTuber is also permanently closing its eyes, it seems, or staring up, so the tracking isn't the best at the moment anymore. But we've had a lengthy stream. And if you wanted to know what I keep looking at, it's this. That's what I keep looking at. That's what the camera is going to end up seeing when you hit render. So, That's on my second screen, usually. Over there. So you can't see that. Yeah, we both should go to bed. So this is the end of this 3.5 hours. Thank you for hanging out. All three, four, couple of people that dropped by, even if you didn't stay to the end of the stream. I hope to do more streams like this in the future and uh, to give people a look behind the scenes of what what I do on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for coming and good night or good day if it's day where you are if you're watching this in the future. And goodbye for now. Bye bye.